It's not back from the welder yet, but I've been practicing, testing a couple of things to do, and first thing I tried was this Total Boat stuff from Jamestown. And we used it on the top sides, cabin top and deck, when we had to strip off all the old paint, and it worked really good. I tried it on the boom, and I don't know what they used to coat this. You know, there's some, I don't know, zinc oxide or aluminum oxide, some kind of paint, the primer, and then the top coat. And this thing didn't even touch it. Total strip after an hour, barely took the sheen off the paint. I think they must have, this boom must have been painted with all grip. I don't think it was powder coated because of the zinc chromate primer. But yeah, anyway, I was messing around with a wire wheel, and that kind of leaves a little bit of a weird texture. So I use this quick strip disc, which is this thing. It's a real abrasive disc. That left a lot of rainbows from the grinder. I used it in a 4.5 inch angle grinder. I took 120 grit and sanded it out by hand and with the grain, and that left a pretty good finish. But I picked up a cheapo Harbor Freight, what do you call it? Sandblast gun. It's a siphon gun. It works off compressed air and use various blasting media in order to remove paint. So first thing I'm going to work on, I'm going to try, I got a couple of different medias, just small bags. I got a bag of baking soda from Costco for soda blasting. That's delicate. It doesn't abuse the metal too much. So I got ground glass. It's 40 to 70 grit blast media, and for aluminum it's recommended. I'm going to give a couple of different things a try, use a couple of different medias, and try and take off some paint. I've kind of decided that I don't want to paint anymore. I'm sick of painting. So what I'm going to do is leave this thing bare naked aluminum and then put a clear coat on top of that. So let's suit up, put on our PPE, and get started. So the first thing I'm going to try is baking soda. And this is just regular baking soda from Costco. We got the boom back from the welder yesterday, and I'm going to take another crack at stripping off this paint. I saw a guy on the internet. He used this aircraft paint remover, and I think he had similar coating, like the zinc chromate yellow primer, and probably all craft top coating, 2-part. I'm going to paint this stuff on and give it a try and see what happens. Alright, this stuff's pretty nasty, so I'm going to put on the respirator. Alright, you can already see it going to work on some of these blister spots where the aluminum has started to oxidize, where the hardware was installed or the coating got nicked. I'm gonna leave it on here for a little bit and then go to town. Looks like this is going to be a long, hard process. As you can see, some spots just peeled right up. Anywhere there was an intrusion in the coating, like with oxidation and blistering, you know, along damaged spots and the sail track, especially the sail track, because there was a lot of wear and tear on there. Let's try it again. I barely used a tablespoon, so I mean, if I got to use a whole gallon of this stuff, beats the hell out of sand in it. Alright, so here's 30 minutes. I laid it on heavy, and it looks like it's starting to work, but it's still, there's still some stubborn spots. Just ain't coming off. Hang on a second, I'm gonna try something else. I'm gonna go metal. Stuff is tough. All right, so that's about 3 square feet, 21 more square feet to go. I'm gonna have to let this stuff soak. Ugh, it's gonna be a long, hard process. So I've literally done 1/3 of the boom. You know, the chemical stripper works, but geez, some of it just won't go. Well, that's most of the paint. I've still got some scrubbing and painting, or paint removal. Gotta figure out how to get the inside of this done. It's a lot of work to strip it, but at least I'm not sanding it. But yeah, you can see some of the, at the end here, some of the zinc chromate stuck. This is the end that I sanded before I took it to the welder when they did the shiv box installation. Came out nice. We finished up the stripping of the paint on the boom, and after we got it back from the welder, I did a lot of sanding to bring up the grain, take out the scratches best I could. What we got now is this. After stripping the paint with a chemical stripper, I went over it with 120 grit and then went up to 220 grit, and there's still some oxidation marks, especially around where the hardware was. You see around here and some of these spots. There were some deep scratches I couldn't get out, and rather than take the boom way down with some heavy grit, I just figured I'd leave it. Looks pretty good. Here's another one of those spots that was bubbling up the old paint. Now I've solvent wiped it, got all the dust off from the aluminum sanding, and now I'm gonna show you what we're gonna do for the end result. So I was looking on the internet for what to do with an aluminum mast and boom once you've stripped all the paint off, and started thinking I liked the way it looks, and came across a YouTube video where this dude stripped all the paint off, sanded it down, and used this product called Protect-A-Clear from Everbright Incorporated. RenewMetal.com is the website. And I started looking, and it happens to be that they are right here in Rancho Cordova, not too far away from where we live, or where we're keeping the boat. So I picked up this kit, and it's Protect-A-Clear, and it's a satin finish, and you just wipe it on. It's a solvent-based carrier, and then first you use this stuff, which is Alumiprep, and that takes all the grease and fingerprints and things like that off the metal, and you mix it 1 ounce to a gallon, roughly 1 to 2 ounces per gallon, and then scrub everything down, and then wipe down the boom and get all the water spots off. Make sure you don't get water spots, and then start wiping on the clear coat. So I'm going to try this, and I requested a satin finish, so they mixed up a satin finish of the Protect-A-Clear, and we'll see how it turns out. Step 1, A couple ounces of Luma Prep to a gallon of water. I'm putting it on with a really fine Scotch-Brite pad, so work with the grain. So rinsed it clear, and actually that really fine Scotch-Brite was a great way to smooth everything out, man. It really took a lot of the scrapes and scuffs out, especially with the etching compound. I don't know what's in that stuff, but apparently it seems to work. So step 2, dry it off with a lint-free cloth. So I'm wearing gloves. I'm not touching the boom because I don't want to leave oily fingerprints on it. And then that way it'll be clean with the clear coat. And I've also got the back ends propped up fore and aft on 2x4s, so I'm not touching anything as I roll it over. This Luma Prep stuff, not too bad. Gives it a nice, I was fighting with sanding, gives it a nice clean finish. It actually looks pretty good right now. I'm gonna be happy, I think. We'll see. Next step, wipe on the Protect Clear. They give you these spongy pads with no lint, lint-free. You have to use a metal pan because there's a solvent carrier inside this stuff. So, all right, let's wipe it on. Wow, this shit goes on nice. That's pretty much the first coat. 2 more to go. Second coat. So the third coat didn't come out so great. We're blowing 15 knots right now at the marina. And I picked a sheltered area, but I just got speckles and things that I don't like. I mean, you can see right here. I'm gonna have to sand some of this out. I'll run it tomorrow with the Scotch-Brite, let this whole coat cure, sand it down a little bit on this side and on the top of the boom. The leeward side, downwind, actually came out pretty freaking nice. Man, these the little pads they give, they do start flaking off. I do get some cotton flakes in the coating, but it's drying too quick because it's so windy today. I'm gonna have to take this down a little bit and then put one more coat of clear coat on it, maybe 2.